History is a vast ocean, and within its depths lie the darkest storms that have shaped our world. These storms range from catastrophic eruptions that darken the skies to plagues that swept away entire populations. Today, we plunge into the top 10 darkest years in human history, where despair reigned, humanity faced its greatest trials, and these years are haunting reminders of our fragility. Join us for a journey into the abyss of our past, where hope flickered dimly against the tide of despair. Let's begin. At number 10, 73,000 BC. Considered one of the most disastrous volcanic events known to man, around 73,000 BC, the eruption of the Toba supervolcano in present-day Sumatra, Indonesia, was by far the largest over the last 28 million years, with an estimated volume of 700 cubic miles of ash and debris released to the atmosphere. This climatic shift lowered global temperatures by 5 to 9 degrees Celsius, causing a volcanic winter in which sunlight was greatly blocked, thus disrupting agricultural practices and food supplies. Only about 1,000 to 10,000 breeding pairs of humans survived this period. Fast forward to number 9, 536 AD, the Year of Darkness. Think about waking up and finding the world shrouded in shadow for nearly 2 years. A colossal volcanic eruption in Iceland spewed massive amounts of ash into the atmosphere, blocking out sunlight and causing temperatures to plummet by as much as 2.5 degrees Celsius. This sudden change in climate conditions triggered crop failures across Europe and Asia, leading to widespread famine. Historians term this as one of the worst times to be alive. The darkness would last about 18 months, during which crops failed and millions starved. But wait, there are 8 more years. Stay tuned for our top 8 darkest and saddest years. Sliding into 8th year, 1347-1351, the infamous Black Death, which swept through Europe from 1347 to 1351. It is a pandemic that devastated populations across continents. Estimates as high as between 25 million and 200 million people lost their lives, about a third of Europe's population at that time. The Black Death then swept across the continent, running along trade routes and promoting mass hysteria through the scapegoating of marginal groups, such as Jews. The blame fell upon the Jews in a very untruthful manner for this plague. It reshaped Europe forever, altering its labor dynamics and social structures. Let's see number 7, 1816. In 1816, another volcanic eruption occurred, this time from Mount Tambora, which caused global climate anomalies and was also known to many as the year without a summer. Global temperatures abruptly fell, while crop failures across North America and Europe were suddenly happening. Farmers were losing heavily due to their crops withering and dying. This led to famine and economic tumult. This year constitutes one of those wake-up calls to natural disasters' long-range impacts on human societies. At number 6, 1918, the end of World War I gave little reprieve, for another disaster struck the world, namely the Spanish flu pandemic of 1918. This influenza outbreak infected 1/3 of the population of the world and killed about 50 million people around the world, one of the deadliest pandemics in history. The war weakened many nations, making them more prone to sickness. The Spanish flu hit hardest because it struck otherwise healthy young adults. Hospitals were rapidly overwhelmed, and the life losses that mounted in the communities became nothing short of stunning. Let's see what's in number 5, 1492. The arrival of Christopher Columbus in the Americas in 1492 is often celebrated as a discovery. But that year truly marked the beginning of ruthless colonial practices that would eventually wipe out most of the indigenous people across the continent. Coming ashore in the Caribbean, Columbus and his men encountered the Taino and Arawak peoples, who greeted them initially. Estimates are that as many as 90% of Native Americans eventually died from European diseases like smallpox and measles, against which the natives had no immunity. The colonization process entailed violent conquests, forced labor, and displacement. Drifting into number 4, 1943. While the latest fluctuations took place during World War II, 1943 can be considered one of the darkest years during that war and during the Holocaust. Though the conflict claimed an estimated 1.3 million Jewish lives by spring, more than 2 million people died in that bloody struggle due to fierce battles such as Stalingrad. Besides this, war aggravated famines in both Asia and Europe, claiming millions of more lives. The atrocities that occurred at this time remind us of something truly terrifying: the capability of humans for cruelty and the strong effect war has on innocent lives. At number 3, 541-543 AD, another outbreak in 536 AD included the Plague of Justinian, which struck from 541 to 543 AD. The bacterium Yersinia pestis, responsible for the later Black Death, also caused this. Originating in Egypt, it spread throughout the Byzantine Empire and is estimated to have killed 25 to 50 million people, significantly influencing the social climate of the time. It spread through the trade routes and highly populated cities with a rapidity that was extreme in creating mass hysteria and the breakdown of society. Let's move on. Number 2, 1600. Next would come 1600, which for many indigenous populations in North America meant tragic declines to their populations due to the colonization effort of Europeans and diseases, such as smallpox, that they had no immunities against. That time has often been termed the Great Dying, and estimates show that some tribes lost up to 90% of their people within a few years from the time they contacted Europeans. And finally, at number 1, 2020. Fast forward to recent history, 2020 was the year that tested humanity like never before with the onslaught of the COVID-19 pandemic. Millions lost their lives worldwide while economies collapsed and social structures strained under pressure never experienced before. Lockdowns and other forms of restrictions led to mental health crises and raised poverty levels globally. It is a year reminding us that even in these modern times, we are not immune from calamity. It has underlined more vulnerabilities within our global society. Thank you for joining us on this solemn journey through history. If you find this video enlightening or thought-provoking, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content exploring our world's past. Which year should be added to this list? What is the reason? Let us know in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious.